Happy birthday, pals. Hey, I'm Ross, and welcome back to another video. And boy, howdy, do I got something neat to share with you today. Now, some people might know that I'm a big fan of the game RuneScape. Where is my time gone? But I'm actually a bigger fan of the show 90 Day Fiance. But what does a program showcasing mostly turbulent relationships have to do with a medieval MMORPG clicker game? Why am I including these two things in the same sentence at all? Well, one of the couples from the current season has a gamer on it, and I'm a gamer too. And not just any kind of gamer, a fellow RuneScaper. And not just any RuneScaper, we have rank 1 in the magic skill. Before we get into this #1 wizard's love story, let me give a quick recap onto, what 90 Day Fiance is and RuneScape, just so we all know what's going on going into this. 90 Day Fiance is a 10-season long show on TLC with more spin-offs than I personally imagined, that follows the lives and relationships of people trying to move to the United States through the use of a K-1 visa. According to travel.state.gov, a K-1 visa permits a foreign citizen's fiance to travel to the United States and marry his or her US citizen sponsor within 90 days. Now, this show has been infamous for couples like Big Ed and Rose, Colt and Larissa, George and Anfisa, Big Ed and Liz, and just plenty of other characters, just mostly showcasing their difficulties in getting the K-1 visa and just navigating through the long distance relationship on top of that. RuneScape, on the other hand, is an MMORPG where, for example, you can perform actions like, you cut a tree, you'll get a log and like 25 XP. The XP caps out at 200 million, and the high scores for the game are in player order of who achieves it first. So on top of that, there are 5 combat skills. You got attack, strength, defense, magic, and archery or range. Magic at like the end game high level area, you can get about 300,000 experience an hour. So you can guess that getting 200 million experience takes a long time. And to also be the first player to do that in the game is also quite an achievement as well. So grab a snack, and if you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. You can always subscribe as well and all that good stuff. But without further ado, let me share with you, pal, Clayton and Annalene's 90 Day Fiance love story. So Clayton, my fellow gamer, is 30 years old from Kentucky, working as a cybersecurity analyst. Now, I was curious what a cybersecurity analyst does, and it seemed like it's a remote position primarily responsible for protecting a company's network and systems from cyber attacks, which seems like a really good job for a gamer, being able to juggle work and still be able to play stuff on the side unless, you got a big project you're involved in and working on. It's also a very well-paid position with the right education, reaching 6 figures a year. Nice. Next, we get to meet all the residents of the single bedroom apartment. We have 2 guinea pigs, 2 chihuahuas, and also his mom that lives in the closet. Like, we got a mattress going wall to wall for her to sleep on.
2 guinea pigs, baby pig, and chocolate. I also have 2 chihuahuas, Coco and Buster. My mom lives in like a walk-in closet attached to the living room.
I absolutely love my mama, and I would do anything to support her, but I feel like just letting her sleep in the closet isn't the solution for his mom saving for her own place that he thinks that it is. And it just gives off to me more of a ignore a problem and just kind of hope it fixes itself kind of vibe, which I wonder if this is gonna come up later at all. I'm just curious, It's also odd how their arrangement came when they were touring just the place for Clayton, and his mom saw the closet and she was just like, this is perfect.
I opened a door and I said, oh, this is my place right here. The perfect mom-sized bedroom. And he said, are you serious? I said, yep.
So in this packed 1-bedroom apartment, we're also going to be moving Clayton's fiance, Annalene, who's moving in from Peru, which is becoming a lot of people for a 1-bedroom. And I don't know if the leasing office is kind of being made aware of all these tenants and pets. Because, you know, I'm just saying, yeah, I did sneak my cat KP in to my first apartment. I didn't pay the pet deposit. Did she pee on the carpet? I'm not answering that. Did she pee on my roommate Tim's coat? Yes. Now, you can use that information to infer whatever you want. Anyway, we get to learn next that Clayton and Annaline met on a language learning app. And from looking up and just kind of researching different language learning apps and sites, my guess was it was either My Language Exchange, or my stronger guess of the two was Tandem, which, if you have a pro Tandem membership, you can view who has seen your profile. Clayton had seen that Annalene had went to his profile, and he sent her a message along the lines of,
She visited my profile, didn't say anything. I just decided to be like, hey, you visited my profile and you didn't say anything, hello. So that's kind of how it started.
I'm not very strong in the sending women messages category myself, but to me, that one, I don't know. It just, I guess it's an icebreaker. It gets a conversation going. So I can't really rate it, but if I would rate it, it'd just be lower. But I can't, you know, but I would. Can't. So we learn that their relationship blossomed, and around the 8-month mark, Clayton went to Peru to visit her in person. And after 4 days there, he proposed to her. And her reply, let me just give you my reaction to her proposal. Oh my goodness.
And I think it was on day 4 of us being together when I realized I've never loved someone as much as I do Annalene. So I decided to propose to her. She said, aw, and then didn't say anything else. I was like, so yes? And she said, yeah.
Oh, no. Now, I know how it feels. I've been in long distance relationship, and when you finally actually get to be together, it's amazing. It's like a super duper, you know, the honeymoon phase everyone talks about. And I remember thinking like, man, I would want to spend the rest of my life with this person myself. But that was also before we actually learned the ins and outs of our relationship. And if we went together, did we want the same things, you know? It's like you don't fully know that person yet. Being with a person physically is just so much different than being in a long distance relationship, because you don't really get to know how that person lives or acts until you live with them 4 days. A relationship at that stage should be when you think of your partner, you're just like, man, I do want to spend the rest of my life with someone, and you're willing to work towards, you know, moving your life in the direction where you can spend every day with them. I mean, you don't propose 4 days into physically meeting them. I don't know. I'm not a big romance guy, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this, you know, heck me. But I could imagine, you know, romantically saying, I would like to marry you, and you are my dream, you know, proposing in verbal form of like, I'm gonna make you my wife one day. But just, I don't know. Clayton he popped that proposal probably faster than he got 200 mil match. Since Annalene will be arriving to the United States very soon, Clayton wants to get the packed living space in order. You know, it is a single bedroom apartment. This is when we get to learn that the apartment is not only full of all of its residents, but it's also jam-packed with the things hoarded by his mother.
So I'm wanting this cleared out so we can get a table. Maybe we can have dinner with Annalene here instead of me eating in my room. I know that my mom's not a severe hoarder, but she does have hoarding tendencies. So we got a rug. What is that?
It's flower seeds.
She has a lifelong habit of hanging on to things too long.
Now, hoarding is an issue that can come at multiple levels, from the absolute extreme, if you've seen the show Hoarders, to just having trouble letting go of small things. You know, maybe you just see it as a collection, like, oh, I don't use this ever, but I can't let it go. But it does come at different levels. Clayton does care though about having a more comfortable living environment for his fiance, opting to hopefully, you know, get a table so that they can eat dinner together since he had previously just been eating at his desk. It's a little odd to me though that Clayton didn't really care about the overall comfort of the apartment until Annalene was moving in, so it is a change being made for his fiance. He was just kind of all right with letting his mother hoard things in the apartment. But you know, with Annalene coming, it is finally time to get his stuff in order. So they head off to the storage unit to store more of his mom's stuff, and we get a small glimpse into the absolutely packed storage unit.
Surprise! Whoa.
I told you.
Yeah, there's less room than I thought.
The last time I moved, my 2 roommates and I had to store all of our stuff, and it was across like 3 bedrooms, 3 offices, and we filled a storage unit. The 3 of us filling our house into a storage unit is what this lady was able to achieve solo, not even to mention that it isn't cheap renting these things like month to month. Like it adds up over time. It might start cheap, but you know, you have that thing for like 5 years. That's 5 years you're paying for, you know, it's just stuff you're not doing anything with. We got our stuff out and then we just stopped, you know, we moved our house in. Something I also just absolutely love about this show is how they'll just take kind of like a normal moment and then just turn it into something like really intense. So while Clayton and his mom are working on just shoving into that storage, he gets a call from Annalene that goes from all fun and games.
Estamos emocionados para verte. Particularmente yo. Estoy listo.
No moviste tu cola.
Rapidly into a tense moment, her asking, will there be enough space for her? Which Clayton, luckily, is able to defuse the situation with a quick, we're organizing.
Siente espacio para mí cuando llegue.
Sí, estamos ordenando la casa para tu llegada.
And then after the call, though, we get that he expresses fear that she's just going to be so unhappy with how disorganized things are that she's going to want to leave, which to me is a very valid fear because it doesn't seem like a lot of preparation has been being made for her arrival. Like, yes, we are trying to clean up a little bit, but how much of this stuff could have been done ahead of time? Like the whole 90-day getting your K1 visa isn't just a, yeah, let's do it in a weekend kind of thing. From watching enough of this show, it's very expensive and just lengthy process. And in this time, you couldn't have just gone out and bought a table. You couldn't have worked on cleaning up as well. You had to wait until the last minute. Did the show producers say, hey, don't change anything in your life. We want to record it all like that. I'm just curious. It just feels to me like he's not actively working to welcome her in, except for what he's showing on the show. We're then introduced to a new important character to our story, Clayton's best friend of 13 years, Cameron the Gamer.
What's up, Mr. Clayton? How you doing?
Trying to play the game or what?
I was thinking about killing some giant mole.
Oh, that's like really high level stuff, bro.
Clayton then shares that he's been addicted to an online game, RuneScape, since his teens and has around 20,000 hours, and that is where he and Cameron met. I myself have around, from the image I showed before, it's like 13,000 hours, and I also met my best friend Max through RuneScape, although there's one major difference.
Cameron is my best friend of 13 years. We met on an online game, but we haven't met yet. I don't actually know why.
Max and I, though, we met up a few times before we eventually moved in together. I remember I failed my driving test when I was 16. I just assumed that I'd pass because, you know, everyone passes on their first driving test. I ended up just driving anyway. Like, I assumed when he'd come to visit, I'd have my license. I was just like, you know what? Heck it, I'll just drive anyway. And it worked out. I mean, the next time I took my I never got in trouble, and the next time I took my test, I passed. So I mean, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, after some epic RuneScape gameplay, we get a playful jab from Cameron that maybe Clayton's gaming skills have been decreasing because he's been hanging around with that girl. Yeah, that's right. Us gamers gotta not get distracted by women and not lose out on our RuneScape XP. Yeah! I'm joking. I'm just joking. Afterwards, Cameron also asks about her, arriving in a few days. Clayton remarks how time has flown by and reveals that it's now been 2.5 years that they've been together, and then lets his best friend in on a little something that's been bugging him. And since we're learning this at the exact same time as his best friend, I like to imagine us, the viewers, at heart, are also Clayton's best friends. All right, Clayton, buddy, what is it you're concerned about?
You know how me and Annalene have been together for like 2.5 years, give or take?
Right.
So this whole entire time, her dad doesn't even know I exist.
Yikes. Well, maybe that's not all that bad. Maybe she's not even that close with her dad.
Does she have a relationship with her dad? Does she talk to him?
Oh yeah. She talks to him. He calls her like an abnormal amount of times per day. Like he will call her literally like 20 times per day.
So Clayton mentions not previously telling Cameron because he's been hurt in the past and is taking a ignore it, it might just go away approach. I wonder where we heard that approach before. Ignore a problem and just kind of hope it fixes itself kind of vibe, which I wonder if this is gonna come up later at all. I'm just curious, I feel bad because getting hurt isn't fun, but that's part of getting hurt is making mistakes and learning from them. It's the whole, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me because I should have learned the first time. We also learn that when it does come to Clayton and Annalene's relationship, that she can be a bit of a liar. Because every time Clayton would go to Peru to visit her, or she would travel to visit him, she would just tell her family that it was something work related and never mention anything relationship related. Oh, I'm going here for work. Oh, I'm doing this for work. They going as far as the current reason she's moving to the US, her family doesn't think is a K1 relationship related visa, but they think it's a...
And then she's coming to the US in a few days. Oh, surprise, she's got a job waiting for her, except not actually.
It's just crazy to me, but just how expensive and tedious a K1 process is. So to hide it from your family, girl, what's going on? Well, Cameron, being a true gamer, just drops straight knowledge bombs about how building a relationship on a lie like that just isn't good for a family.
Get it resolved as soon as possible, because this is your life partner, man. You gotta think of every dimension. Like, this is gonna be your family as well.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been able to put that any better myself. To me, if he truly is telling Cameron about this major relationship problem for the first time, it's a little sad to me that he hasn't trusted his best friend of 13 years with this before the show pushed him to. Cameron seems like a longtime friend there for him, and that advice could have been very helpful at any point during the 2.5 years of their relationship. It's just, I feel like it's slightly lost its touch just being days before she arrives rather than any point beforehand. Luckily, we don't have to wait too long because we get to skip to the day of Annalene's arrival. We're treated to Clayton's thoughts on his flower gift.
I've never bought anyone flowers before because I've always just had the attitude that flowers die. They're just an expensive temporary gift. But Annalene is coming to the United States from a 30-hour flight. I want her to have a good entrance to America and something that she's going to remember forever.
It's sad to me he has such a bad outlook when it comes to the gift, thinking more about how normally they just die anyway, but he's willing to look past that, and to give her something sweet after her 30-hour flight. Sometimes 90 Day Fiance will make the airport arrival a very tense moment, but it was a very nice change of pace when Annalene's arrival, her and Clayton just kind of have a sweet moment together.
Cheeky.
And we also get a moment of them goofing like buds.
Tienes que cuidar a tus cuyes porque puedo tomar uno y comerlo.
Yeah, pero primero necesitas aprender cómo cocinar.
Which is sweet and nice, but then you remember her father doesn't know Clayton exists and that her family isn't aware of the real reason that she's in the United States. We then head back to the apartment where Annalene will be meeting Clayton's mother in person for the first time. And man, there is nothing like meeting your future mother-in-law of your secret fiance for the first time in front of a bunch of cameras.
Mucho gusto.
Nice to meet you.
Te amo.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
That's cute.
As awkward as the meeting is, Clayton's mom makes a comment that just kind of hits me differently about how happy he looks and how she doesn't remember ever seeing him this happy before, which really shows as well that love can be blinding because good moments still happen, even when there's clearly some issues.
And he's just like got that look on him that I haven't seen. I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Clayton then gives Annalene the grand tour of where she will now be living. She makes a comment about the lack of a couch to sit on and, you know, how there's no table. And one of my favorite parts is the old, "Oh, it used to be dirtier" comments Clayton makes about the kitchen.
La cocina es mucho más limpia que antes.
Prefieren que su perro duerma bien y que su cuy pueda divertirse y correr. Ellos están haciendo las cosas al revés.
Like, dude, just completely clean the kitchen before she arrives. Were you trying to save some for her? You know, help her get integrated into the apartment? Like, all right, it's you're first off to wash the dishes. Annalene also makes note that the guinea pigs and dogs are given much more consideration for their comforts than the humans of the apartment, and just about how backwards that feels. One thing she mentions as well, though, is that back in Peru, her home was much larger, which tells me at least that she's more in it for love than his possessions, which has been a theme on 90 Day before. She also mentions, though, that the apartment isn't the only small thing around here.
Habitación. Pequeño, pero funciona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pequeño tú.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Annalene comments as well that even though the apartment is small, she sees it as them starting from the bottom, kind of like their relationship, and as time goes on, it's gonna grow from there, which I think is a very nice way of looking at it. Like, they're in it together kind of thing. Like, when something nice happens, it's happening to them together.
Creo que todas las parejas empiezan desde cero y sé que más adelante podemos tener algo más grande, así que no le puedo exigir más a él.
I feel as well that if Clayton's mom just had her own place as well, and that they just had the whole apartment to themselves, that would already just be a massive improvement to the chaotic living situation. But she is also optimistic about the relationship and it just blooming. But will it bloom past her keeping it a secret from her family? That's what I've been asking. We're also made aware of Clayton's concern that the intimacy of the apartment might be a little low, just because, you know, having mom living in the closet of the thin-walled single-bedroom apartment.
Me and Annalie are not going to have an intimate relationship too often with my mom 10 feet away.
So we get to finish the episode off with them sharing their first night together and, you know, leaving a teddy bear just tucked right in between them.
Él divide la cama, el peluche, ¿qué? Mi
Why?
espacio.
Hey.
Es mi espacio. Es que necesito dormir bien, así que bye.
I wonder if it's for the show, but do you think the camera shot of them just laying in bed and probably having like 2 or 4 camera people just like in the room filming? It's like, I'd not want to be intimate with people around, or like at least not see, like I'd want people to leave. And you know what? I'm also thinking the way Annalene commented, I think Mr. Bear got the most cuddles that night.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
I want to assume that if they did own a couch, Annalene would have just been having him sleep on it. Night 1, he's already on the couch. You know, you're truly in for a love story soup when these are all the delicious ingredients we got cooking up in this pot. And I know this isn't normally the kind of video I do, but if you'd be interested in me sharing more of Clayton and Annalene's story, since this was only just the first 2 episodes they appeared in, let me know. I'm watching 90 Day Fiance on Max. If you don't even want to wait for me to watch it and make a video on it and you just want to watch it yourself, go watch it on Max. I'm pretty sure Amazon Prime Video. There's plenty of ways. It's such a great garbage show to binge watch. Just turn your brain off, enjoy the different couples, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.